Okay, now I've finished going through the Spencerian penmanship copybook number 1. I thought I'd just go through some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I've found, and how I do my daily practice. The copybook number 1 basically goes through all of the short letters, all of the lowercase letters that are short. So the I, the U, W, N, M, V, X, O, A, E, C, I think that's it, M, N, yeah, I said those. And all of these letters are based on 3 principles. The straight slanting line. The slant of the Spencerian script is 52 degrees. The second principle is a right curved slanted line, and the third principle is a left curve. So the first couple of copy pages are just practicing the principles. There's the slanted line, then we've got the principle number 1 and 2, the curved lines, curving to the left on this side, and then over this side it changes to the right. I started off doing my exercises with a pencil, 0.7mm lead, and I actually put a 2B lead in there, so you don't have to press very hard. I didn't want to. I wanted to get started immediately. I didn't want to fork out any extra cash for an expensive fountain pen, and I wanted to get started with the basics, and I did find that worked quite well. I did end up getting a dip pen. On recommendation from a couple of websites, I got a Nico G nib and just a basic holder and some basic ink. I also got a book to do my exercises in. This is a Rhodia notebook, which I find the paper quite nice and smooth, and it's size, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, size ruled or French ruled. You can see it's got the same lines and spacing here as the Spencerian copybook. It just means that I can do a lot more practice than what is in the copybook. So you can see here I started out in pencil, and then when I got the dip pen, I've switched to that. So you can see there's quite a bit of practice. What I do starting out each practice session is I start with some movement exercises. You'll want to go through the the theory book of the Spencerian penmanship. It goes into, and you want to pay really close attention to your posture and the way you hold your hand. The pen should be held like this, up close to the knuckle, and so that's the finger movement you're using there. You should rest this part of your arm, the fleshy part of your arm just below the elbow, on the table, and then the last 2 fingers. So you can pivot here from the elbow and not the wrist. Now these movement exercises, they're not in the theory book or in any of the copybooks. I did find them on a scan of one of the original Spencerian penmanship books. And I found that at iampeth.com. So I've printed that out, and I just go over this with a dry pen. I just copy over it several times, each of the exercises, just to get my muscles and my brain in, and get that muscle memory going before I start doing my writing. So it says, here some exercises are finger exercises, so you should be doing them using just your fingers. There's some here with forearm exercises, so you shouldn't be using your fingers at all. And then we've got some combined exercises. So you can use both the forearm movement and the finger movement. So that's what I start each of my practice sessions with. Then I go through each page, depending on how much time I've got, is depending on how many lines of each letter or each word I will do. At the start of the copybook 1, you're just practicing individual letters. Towards the end, there are some 2 and 3 letter words. So again, I use a dry pen, or I started off using my pencil with the lead retracted. So I just go over each one. So my hand and my brain is getting the exact shape that I should be producing. So just like that, this is the S, and I'll go and I'll do the whole line. And then after that, I'll come to my exercise book, and I'll actually do it in ink in my exercise book. And that's pretty much what I've done for my daily practice. I've got to the end of the penmanship copybook 1, and basically the letters here are I, U, W, N, M, X, V, O, E, C. I really think it looks very close to an E, but I'm not sure of another way to do it. S, and then there are some joined letters. I might just go through the X. That was the one I struggled with the most. The scan I've got in my copybook was really quite terrible, and I couldn't see properly what the letter was supposed to look like. And the description, here we go, that's the X page. It was really difficult to see how the letters are formed, and the description in the theory book was really quite difficult to follow. So they've got all of the letters in the theory book, and it does a breakdown of each letter. Here we go. So you can see the X a bit better there. But the description was really hard to follow. Beginning on baseline, ascend with left curve on connective slant, 1 space, turn short and descend with right curve, touching baseline 3/4 space to right of beginning. Without lifting pen, ascend to point even with first turn and 1/3 space to its right. Descend with left curve to junction with right, thence diverging, continue to baseline, turn short, and finish like you. So it's quite a difficult description to follow. There is a note here which was interesting, which I decided not to follow. Another method of making the X preferred by some is to lift the pen after forming the first half, then put it down even with the top turn and 1/3 space to its right. Complete the letter as above described. I prefer the first way without lifting the pen. I just like how smooth that is. So here we go. Please excuse me if I don't get this right the first time. I've only been doing this for a couple of weeks. I'll do my best, give it my best shot. So you come up and back with a curve, and then come up with the straight line and back down, so you're not lifting the pen at all. That's probably a bit too strong of a curve there. So yeah, they said you could do it like that, and then I'm not sure how they said the way you can do it without lifting your pen, but I quite like how smooth it is to write it without lifting the pen. So that was the X. It took me probably about 2 hours of searching online and trial and error to try and figure out how to do that. But now I've figured it out, I'm quite pleased with it. I'll put in the description of the video, I'll put some websites I found quite helpful. The link to the IAMPTH.com, International Association for Master Penmanship, I can't remember what the rest stands for, but they've got some really old good books on there, some of which I've loaded onto my iPad, so I can look through there. And there's some other really good websites I found with, videos I found with descriptions of how to hold the pen and things like that. That's how far I've come so far. I'm quite pleased with my my progress. I'm actually getting really frustrated with my everyday handwriting because now I know some of the letters, but not all of them, and I'm not quite sure how to join them up together. So I really can't wait until I've learnt the full suite of letters and I can try this out in my everyday handwriting.